Imagine a single man responsible for the deaths of thousands. Meet Maximilien Robespierre. This lawyer-turned-political leader played a pivotal role in the French Revolution, but his legacy is forever stained by the Reign of Terror. From 1793 to 1794, France was gripped by fear as Robespierre and his followers unleashed a wave of executions. Anyone deemed a threat to the revolution was guillotined, with estimates ranging from 16,000 to 40,000 victims. Nobles, clergy, and even fellow revolutionaries fell under Robespierre's ruthless purge. His reign was marked by his chilling belief that terror could be used as an instrument of justice. However, this reign of terror did not last. Fearful of his growing power, Robespierre's allies turned against him. On July 28, 1794, the architect of the Reign of Terror met his end on the same guillotine he had used on so many others. The Reign of Terror ended with Robespierre's own execution. A chilling end to a chilling tale. From France, we traverse to Uganda, where Idi Amin ruled with an iron fist. In the heart of Africa, from 1971 to 1979, a man known as the Butcher of Uganda held sway. This was none other than Idi Amin, a military dictator whose reign was marked by gross human rights abuses, political repression, and widespread corruption. It's believed that up to 500,000 people lost their lives under his brutal regime. Amin's victims were largely political opponents and minority groups, slaughtered without trial or mercy. His reign was characterized by erratic behavior, grandiose declarations, and a ruthless suppression of dissent. Amin's rule was a reign of terror that left a deep and lasting scar on Uganda's societal fabric. International pressure and the collapse of his regime eventually led to his exile in 1979. Amin's reign of terror ended with his exile, but the scars he left on Uganda still remain. From Africa to Europe, Adolf Hitler needs no introduction. Emerging from the ashes of World War I, Hitler rose to power as the Führer of Nazi Germany. His vision of racial purity and territorial expansion led to the onset of World War II, and the systematic genocide known as the Holocaust. Under his regime, Hitler orchestrated the deaths of 6 million Jews, a staggering figure that represents 2/3 of the European Jewish population of the time. His policies of aggressive expansion, racial superiority, and totalitarianism resulted in the deaths of an estimated 70 million people, nearly 4% of the global population. Hitler's reign of terror came to an end in 1945 when he died by suicide in his bunker in Berlin. However, the echoes of his atrocities still reverberate today. Hitler's death marked the end of World War II, but the horrors of his actions live on. His life serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked power and hatred. From Europe, we fly to Asia to meet Mao Zedong, the man behind the Great Leap Forward. This ambitious economic and social campaign was launched by Mao in the late 1950s, aiming to transform agrarian China into an industrialized society. However, the utopian dream quickly turned into a dystopian nightmare. Mao's policies, including forced labor, unrealistic production targets, and widespread collectivization, led to catastrophic consequences. The most devastating was the Great Chinese Famine, a period of mass starvation that lasted from 1959 to 1961. This famine is regarded as the deadliest in human history, with an estimated death toll of up to 45 million people. The scale of human suffering was immense, with reports of cannibalism, widespread disease, and family members being forced to bury their loved ones in mass graves. Mao's reign ended with his death, but the legacy of his disastrous policies continues to haunt China. From China, we move south to Cambodia, where Pol Pot orchestrated a genocide. Emerging from the shadows in the late 60s, Pol Pot, born Saloth Sar, led the Khmer Rouge in a brutal regime that lasted 4 tragic years. His vision of an agrarian utopia turned into a dystopian nightmare, as cities were emptied, currency abolished, and millions forced into labor. The regime's harsh rule brought about what is known as the Cambodian Genocide, a period marked by mass executions, starvation, and forced labor. It is estimated that up to 2 million Cambodians, nearly a quarter of the population, perished under Pol Pot's rule. His weapon was fear, and his legacy is a scar that remains etched in the heart of Cambodia. Pol Pot's reign ended with his death, but the memory of his atrocities persists, a chilling reminder of how the pursuit of utopia can descend into the depths of human cruelty. From Asia, we travel to South America to meet Pedro Lopez, the monster of the Andes. This man, born in the mid-20th century, carried out some of the most horrifying crimes recorded in human history. This is a man who confessed to taking the lives of over 300 young girls across South America. Lopez's reign of terror spanned 3 countries: Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. His victims were often marginalized, impoverished girls whom he lured with promises of small gifts, only to mercilessly end their lives. His crimes went unnoticed for years, due to the vulnerability and voicelessness of his victims. He was finally apprehended in Ecuador in 1980, but his conviction only scratched the surface of his monstrous actions, as he was released from prison in less than 2 decades. To this day, Pedro Lopez's whereabouts remain unknown, a chilling reminder of the horrors he committed. From South America we return to Europe, to meet Countess Elizabeth Bathory, one of history's deadliest women. Born into Hungarian nobility in the late 16th century, the Blood Countess's tale is as chilling as it is macabre. It's said that she tortured and killed up to 650 young girls, all in the pursuit of maintaining her youthful appearance. This horrific belief stemmed from a warped interpretation of the then prevalent medical practice of bloodletting. Her victims, often servants or daughters of local peasants, were subjected to unimaginable cruelty. Her monstrous acts included biting chunks of flesh off her victims and even bathing in their blood, all in a futile attempt to preserve her own youth. But like all tales of horror, Bathory's ended in her downfall. She was eventually imprisoned within her own castle, where she remained until her death. Bathory's reign of terror ended with her imprisonment, a gruesome end to a gruesome tale. These tales of terror serve as chilling reminders of the depths to which humanity can sink. We've traversed the dark corridors of history together, from the reign of terror to the monstrous exploits of the Blood Countess. Each story, each individual, a testament to the tragic consequences of power unchecked and the destructive potential of the human spirit. Remember the reign of terror, where fear and paranoia were the order of the day and the guillotine, a symbol of the so-called justice. It's a stark reminder of how easily ideals can be twisted by fear and manipulation. Then we journeyed to Uganda, where the butcher's reign was marked by cruelty and bloodshed, a testament to the destructive force of unchecked power and the perils of despotism. We touched upon the horrors of the Holocaust, orchestrated by its architect, a grim reminder of the systematic dehumanization that can occur under the guise of ideology, and the importance of never forgetting these atrocities. The Red Emperor's reign was not blood red by coincidence. It was a stark demonstration of how a zealous pursuit of utopia can morph into a dystopian nightmare. The mastermind behind the Khmer Rouge showed us how a vision of agrarian socialism quickly descended into one of the bloodiest genocides in history. The monster of the Andes, a chilling example of an individual's capacity for evil, reinforces the necessity of vigilance and justice in our societies. Finally, the Blood Countess, whose gruesome tale is a sobering reminder of the lengths some will go to preserve their vanity and power. If you found these tales as fascinating as they are horrifying, do like, share, and subscribe for more. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more we understand about history's darkest moments, the better equipped we are to prevent them from happening again.